Welcome to Mindshock. This is your host, Bruce McGuire, and you are listening to the Mindshock Live Q&A 7. A little late starting out today. There were some technical difficulties, as there sometimes are when dealing with YouTube. And apparently, certain channels, I don't want to say I've been targeted. I mean, obviously, I don't cover anything controversial or conspiratorial, so there would be no reason for YouTube to try to, cause issues with my channel. So, like, obviously, it can't be that. But how's everybody doing tonight? As always, if you find the Mindshock podcast interesting, informative, entertaining, you could donate to our PayPal, help support the channel, help bring logic and reason to a world where it is quickly going extinct. You could also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube, help support the channel that way. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, you can leave them in the comment section, or for these live Q&As, right in the chat. We'll be going over a plethora of topics, as always, on these Q&As, and they are usually very, very entertaining. So let me catch up on what's been going down here while I was working out the glitches here. I am Ion's cat. First question, have you scheduled the conversation with Mark Sargent yet? We've been playing a little bit of email tag, actually, but it is underway, coming soon. Second question, are you secretly a professor who has to disguise his voice so his students won't... This is noise cancellation software, my friend. You could actually listen to some of the earlier episodes where I was using older gen tech. We sounded like a whole bunch of heavy smokers back then. Lord Zed in the house. Why is Bigfoot a motivational speaker? Because he believes in himself. South to West in the house. Mindshock's incoming, as always. Denise Snyder, hello. Dave Scott in the house. Allie P. the Goddess. Why haven't you ever reviewed any true crime movies? It seems like a lot of them are just made to write off any conspiracy theories surrounding the cases and not to actually tell the true stories. That's actually an interesting question. So, not to fall into false dichotomies, some movies, not all, some are actually made by, what are we going to call them? Normies. By a lot of normie coincidence theorists who are well-meaning. Now, I'm not talking about big Hollywood blockbusters. I'm talking about, a lot, especially on the indie side, there's a lot of normies out there, and they actually don't realize that they're writing off the conspiracy theory if the conspiracy theory is true. I mean, some of them are genuinely well-meaning, and they are putting out what they believe to be true because they don't believe the conspiracy is true. And then, of course, there are the manufactured documentaries, which, of course, like the Missing Maura Murray podcast on a documentary on Oxygen. Obviously, that was, that was a total shutdown job on any logic and reason. That's one of the main reasons I started the Maura Murray podcast series. And then even Making a Murderer, where it only exposed 1% of the corruption in Manitowoc. So even though it was technically in support of Avery, it was still a manufactured propaganda piece. Now, I know Netflix bought it or whatever, and it wasn't originally made by Netflix, but still, it exposed such a small amount of corruption. That's why I had to start the Avery series. Ali P. the Goddess continues, I'd highly recommend Echoes in the Darkness, which is based on a very weird and mind-shocking case. I'll check it out. I don't think I've seen that one. Sphinx Bear, what's up? Fubar Temp, this question has probably been asked before, but when was Bruce's mind first shocked? Let me answer that once I get through the others, because that's a big answer. Mila 101 in here, any ideas for bad heartburn? Sphinx Bear says, try mixing a spoonful of baking soda in a glass of water. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, you gotta alkalize. Heartburn, a lot of that is just can be, related to acid reflux and things of that, and depending on the true cause. If you're having it late at night, and before you go to sleep, like lying down could make it worse. So the best bet is to not eat for as long as possible before going to sleep, and then obviously the baking soda or anything alkalizing, mineral water, things of that nature. Pretty good idea. Again, this is not medical advice. We don't give any medical advice, legal advice, or anything. This is all for entertainment purposes. So, okay. Wait, Lord Zed says, "Whoa, I just walked across the street and bought Tums." Yeah, I don't know if there's any additives in Tums. I've never had Tums, but yeah, baking soda is actually a really good idea. And also, yeah, mineral water, any kind of natural mineral water. Lord Zed says, "Guys, there's no way this chick is real. She's too hot, and I'm bugging out because I just bought Tums." The synchronicity in the house here. How do you, Lord Zed? How do you know Mila 101 isn't actually some kind of CIA asset that's been following you around, saw you buy the Tums, or if there's Men in Black following you, and then they just radioed to her, and she's ready on a computer to post that? Is that why they were glitching the YouTube? Because they were trying to put this off while they were doing this whole operation to mess with Mindshock listeners? Sun UV Liberty in the house. Ah, Mila 101. Yes, you guys are awesome. The baking soda water is a miracle worker. Yeah, also, try not to eat acidic foods or any foods close to bedtime. You guys wondering why there were glitches here? Yeah, no, I didn't forget I scheduled. There was actually, it was glitching on the time. Like, it wouldn't let me set the correct time. It actually jumped around on time on me, like an hour back, an hour forward, all over the place. And then it just wouldn't let me connect. It was just like cycling. It was saying it was, but then it wasn't connecting. So then I just had to totally reboot everything. But Sarah Catherine here, this is giving me anxiety. I hope Bruce is okay. All the loyal Mindshock listeners' concern is so touching. That's nice. You guys were. I mean, again, it's not like we go over anything controversial. I mean, Sun UV Liberty says we didn't talk about the Clintons yesterday, did we? I might have been drinking whiskey, but I don't recall. No, that was on Q&A part 6. Is when we were talking about Paul Walker and the Clintons, which I'll be getting to in a moment as well. Sarah, I hope he's not having a breakdown. Do you guys think I'm at risk for a breakdown? I mean, just understanding the psychology of everything. I also, I mean, I don't talk about this enough, but humor and comedy. I mean, I really do think that humor really can be very very healthy just for mental health in general, because if you're taking things so seriously, especially with dark topics. I mean, obviously I would never laugh at any actual crime going on, but the circumstances around it, like the goofery in Manitowoc, or the goofery surrounding a lot of these topics. The circumstances of the goofery can be quite hilarious. Sun UV Labrie says Bruce is a mountain of a man. If he has a breakdown, it'll register on the Richter scale. Yeah, didn't mean to worry you all, Denise. What do we got here? Rudy World in here. Pinto Sack in here. Andy Cheer asks, Bruce, are you a lawyer? I'm not a practicing lawyer. I will say that. Pinto Sack says, Bruce, did you ever call out your parents on logical fallacies when getting in trouble? So I actually didn't really study logic. I studied logic, but I didn't really get into logical fallacies until later. But I did call out the logic itself. of certain things, but I didn't have a bell. I didn't go ding when I didn't have a bell in my hand going ding when they were yelling at me fallaciously. Man, you guys come up with some interesting questions. Sunny V. Looter says Haiti is boogaloing. Can't say that I boogalooing. Can't say that I blame them. How many times should they sit by while their politicians rob them and leave? Speaking of the Clintons, never mind. Yeah, the cannibalism. I actually have a zombie podcast planned as well, going through the history of zombies. Greater Parrot 3, I have a Rumble. Yes, it's linked on the main Mindshock page. I've got some stuff that's not on here. A certain event in Connecticut, and Bill Gates stuff is on there, as well as some other things that would get removed on this particular platform. Boggin in the house. Group Think Skeptic says, have you looked at post-millennial little season? He was loosed on the world so that he could deceive the nations once more for a little season and a short time. I'm gonna have to look at that again regarding Revelation 2013 and 12:12. That's interesting. Wow. Wow. I mean, you're gonna. This is like a 5 hour aside. I don't know if we should get into that. We will get into that on the Altered History series. I have a definitive Mudflood Tartaria podcast coming up shortly. It'll be like a one-stop shop because there's really I couldn't find even the super long videos. They still don't quite address everything. I wanted to make a video like a long podcast with videos kind of encompassing the entire Tartaria mudflood theory, just covering as many aspects as possible in a single video, both the beginner version, intermediate, and advanced, so that way beginners can watch it for a comprehensive introduction, and then people that are also well versed in it can have a single reference video. So that's kind of what I was aiming to do with that. Same thing with the Mandela effect. That's why they're taking so long. The Mandela effect's taking a while because obviously it's got to be completely comprehensive. Boggin says, as long as you didn't get the jab, you're good. Did y'all see the story about Brigitte Macron being a male president of France? Wife is 30 years older than him. They hooked up when he was 15. Yeah, wow, that's disgusting. Andy, you are the best channel at looking into all possibilities for events, so I get defense attorney vibes. So I've studied a bit of law. Obviously I go over some of that on the true crime podcasts, but I never really pursued the lawyer, liar profession. A lot of corruption out there, obviously. And then once I learned about common law, I mean, it kind of goes all out the window. Just the level of corruption between legal and lawful, and it's rough out there. It is rough out there. Denver Harbor from Texas. Yo, Mindshock, love your content. Very legit. Thank you. Boggin, Taboo Conspiracy has put out a great 14-minute video on it. I'll check that out. I don't know. Was it recently? If it was recent, I haven't seen it. If it was older, I may have seen it. But there's only so much you can go over in 14 minutes. I mean, I'm going to be putting out quite an extensive one. Les Xylophone says, I think Mandela effect is a psyop. So, okay, so whether it is or isn't a psyop, because even if it's a psyop, like, how is it being executed? I'll go over that. I don't really want to get into Mandela here because we'll be going over all of that in the Mandela series. And I'll be doing those live as well. I might be doing some not live depending on some of the data compilations, but I'll also be doing live ones so we can go over that. Denver, what is your opinion on the leadership in North Korea? Let's get to that in 1 second. Let me answer the earlier question on when was my mind first shocked, now that I caught up a little bit. So, I think I mentioned this maybe on Q&A 1 or 2, maybe. Or actually, probably maybe on Flat Earth Q&A 1. I'm actually going to also go over this and I'm going to be doing a podcast on issues with society, like an encompassing one. But I'll answer here too. So throughout my school years, I noticed, even when I was extremely young, like even in elementary school, there was a certain, like, almost subconsciously, really. I didn't study psychology, obviously, at in first grade, but the teachers are very confident. I mean, even some of the dumbest teachers, they're very confident in, let's say, arithmetic, English grammar. When it comes to some of the science, depending on the chemistry, some of the basic chemistry, they're confident, but some of the more advanced stuff, they're not. But when it comes to some of the science and some of the history, they don't have that confidence. Now, they think they're right, of course, and they're still confident. There's subtleties in the way that they teach and answer questions regarding arithmetic and English grammar versus the other subjects. And I kind of started picking up on that early. Not that I thought they were wrong in any way. I just thought it was a little strange. And year after year, it got worse and worse. And then when certain people would ask, well, how do they know that? And then all the teacher can do is pretty much refer to the text. They don't know how they figured it out. They're just citing what was supposedly figured out, and we're supposed to just take it on faith. Now, again, earlier, younger years, I didn't really think it was wrong. I just thought it was strange that they couldn't confidently answer questions regarding history or science with the same confidence level as arithmetic or English grammar. There was an observable difference in confidence, and I picked up on that pretty early. And then obviously going through later years in high school, when you kind of figure out which teachers are kind of full of it or not. It's just that there was a certain faith level. I think it was actually in fifth grade when the history teacher said, "Well, the victors write the history books." That was a major red flag for my whatever 10 or 11-year-old brain. As soon as the teacher said that, I was like, "Wait a second, but we're learning from the books. We're being tested on the books. We're being told what the books is true, but you just said the victors wrote them. So that means we don't actually know what the real truth is unless we can also find the books written by the losers and the books written by people not involved in the conflict at all." And since we're looking at the books written by the victors, like that was honestly, that might have been major red flag number one. That might have been it. Because in the book itself, we're talking about the history books written by the victors while reading the book written by the victors. So, I would say between that and then picking up the subtleties of the lack of in confidence of teachers being able to answer non-math or English grammar based questions in the other subjects, and then it just got worse year after year after year. And I think also subconsciously I picked up there's a certain level of desperation that everybody has. Like all of the NPCs trying to keep the Matrix together, the agents of the Matrix. It's like those enslaved by the Matrix, the Mr. Smith effect, of course, where they become agents of the Matrix. And I've kind of seen this. Actually, let me put that up on the screen just so we can have that up there while I talk about it. Because this is why I waited till now to answer the question. It was an earlier question, and I'm still in the middle of answering it because it is quite. There's a lot to it. It's not that simple. So honestly, as a kid, it was possibly when I learned that the victors write the history books. That was possibly the first major one. And then obviously, 9/11 was a huge one. But before we get to there, let me bring up the Mr. Smith effect. I have some kind of meme here. It's always a good meme somewhere. Okay, so the Mr. Smith effect. In the movie The Matrix, Mr. Smith has the ability to enter any body at any time, and of course, this often occurs when the Matrix is threatened by Neo. The scenario is a reflection of our real world. For example, you're down at the coffee shop having a conversation with a friend, and everything is fine until you mention something like 9/11 was an inside job. Obviously, I'm not stating that. Here on Mindshock, we don't claim anything is true or untrue. I'm just reading a meme right now. Now, watch what happens. Up pops Mr. Smith to replace the person you were just having a conversation with to attack you, because all truths threaten the Matrix. The Matrix programmed into most people in their youth, or ute, as Joe Pesci would say. And because of this Mr. Smith programming, these people become guardians of the Matrix, protectors of the code, police of the mind control, enforcers of the indoctrination, which holds our false concept of reality like glue. So, throughout my formative years, I kind of observed this not just in person. Obviously, I didn't know what I was observing. Obviously, well, not obviously. People don't know how old I am. This may have been before The Matrix came out. But this concept of people just, the concept of people changing because their minds have been programmed. And part of the programming is to protect their belief system, regardless of whether it's true or not. So, Jeffrey says, Bruce is Gen X for sure. Well, Gen X is a pretty wide range. I mean, you know. So, to answer the question of the first mind shock, so in terms of like a singular event mind shock, it was probably as a kid being told that the victors write the history books in school. That was a big one. And just the gradual, again, the lack of confidence in teachers in subjects, math and English versus all the other subjects, science, history, whatever. I observed that slowly, and it just got worse and worse the more advanced the classes get. And then, of course, comes 9/11. But even before 9/11, so I'm trying to remember if I think I had seen Alex Jones before 9/11. Possibly not David Icke, though. But I was also on a forum. I explained this in the Geocentrism podcast. I was always into science history, and I was pretty heavily into science, although I wasn't a sci-fi nerd. I was one of these people that wasn't into Star Wars or Star Trek. I wasn't into any of the sci-fi. None. Zero. I liked the action movies, as we always talk about. I liked watching the Steven Seagal and the Van Damme and the Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone movies. I was not into the interplanetary space opera crap. I didn't watch any of the documentaries on the solar system, but I just kind of assumed it was true, right? Because that's what people thought. And then once I kind of started, once the internet was getting bigger, I mean, I remember the BBS boards. I mean, that was late 80s, but at the turn of the millennia, so to speak, turn of the century and the millennia, the internet was getting a lot more popular, and there was actually a forum I just happened to stumble upon. I was also kind of a big Tesla fan. Now, at the time, in around 2000, they weren't specifically discussing how it was Tesla versus Einstein. It wasn't Tesla versus Edison was the distraction, even though that was also, you know, obviously a big grift against free energy to deceive the masses. You know, Con Edison could be any more obvious, but anyway, it was really Tesla versus Einstein. It was really relativity versus electromagnetism. And obviously that was all covered up, but starting around 2000, it was beginning to unravel online. And there was a forum, I don't remember the name of it, I didn't save it, a bunch of physics professors, over 200 of them, were geocentrists. They either geocentrist or uncertain on the matter and objectively investigating. Where they were, you know, we were all talking on this forum, and a bunch of them were actual geocentrists. They believed the Earth was a globe, a non-moving. I actually don't remember if they thought the Earth. I believe they thought it was a stationary globe, not a spinning globe, and everything moved around. All the celestial bodies, the sun and the moon, all moved around the Earth, and that was probably the next big mind shock. So my mind was shocked gradually and then also at certain events. Now, 9/11, as it transpired, I know a number of people who were there that day. I heard their reports. I even shared a story. I don't know if you guys did anybody here not hear my 9/11 podcasts? If you want to hear the story, I'll share it again. We'll probably get shut down. But I know a few people that were there, and I didn't put this together until years later because I didn't really. Some of them I actually didn't even talk to. You know, these weren't super close friends or anything. I mean, one of them was, but and this individual is not who the story is about. But this other story was from somebody that was just acquaintance of an acquaintance, and yeah, it was quite a mind shocking story. So yeah, and then I was also into ancient aliens and the Anunnaki. I was a big fan of the X Files, obviously. So I was always into the conspiracy side, the aliens. I really did have to say I bought into the aliens, the interplanetary aliens. Now, obviously, with the flat Earth theory, extraterrestrial, a larger plane. I gotta say, that seems to check a lot more boxes in validity than interplanetary aliens. Again, I do not claim anything is true or untrue. The motto of the podcast, of course, is the only thing we know for sure is that we don't know anything for sure. Yes, Art Bell. I was a big Art Bell fan as well. Okay, Coast to Coast AM, baby. Yes, I have read the Book of Enoch. Okay, so that's pretty much the story of my mind being shocked. It was just gradual observances in school, and then hearing write the history books for the first time, and then the geocentrist forums, then 9/11. And keep in mind, I had been watching a certain amount of Alex Jones without really, I would say, I didn't really take it at face value. Lucky Haskins wants to know the 9/11 story. You haven't seen the 9/11 podcasts? They're on Mindshock. Oh, kill the bank. That is a can of worms, my friend. The internet opened up a lot of quick access information. Do you think these so called elites, DARPA, released it knowing what it would be, or did the internet become uncontrollable? That is an excellent question, and I really don't want to cop out on you because that's about a 2 hour answer. So I believe that will have to be its own podcast. Like, I really don't want to. Okay, I'll say a little bit. Okay. Are you guys familiar with Fatima's prophecy? I mean, I'm going to paraphrase it because it's quite long. Um, so most of you said no. So Fatima, well, let me at least get the date right. So Fatima was, what is the background here? Wow. Okay, so in her memoirs, which were written in 41, she told of her visions, which occurred 1917. For some reason, I thought it was a little later, but so around 1917. So she had visions and prophecies. So I might be butchering this, but I don't want to spend hours on this. Basically, it was something like this, that in the future, everyone will have a black mirror through which the devil could enter. Now, notice what everybody is carrying around in their pocket. A smartphone, which when off, is a black mirror. Now, again, I butchered that a little bit. If you guys, I mean, I really don't want to spend 2 hours on this because this is a Q&A. It's not really meant as a comprehensive podcast on any, one topic. There are some issues, of course, with the translations, but that's, I studied this for a while many years ago, so I will have to get into it again. And there was a lot more to the yes. Now think about the mirror too. Think about it in medieval, from these supposed medieval fairy tales. The witches always had this magic mirror on the wall, because it could tell them what was going on at any time in the world. Almost like the internet, where you can get live video from anywhere in the world. So it's not like Fatima's prophecy was built on nothing. So there's a long history, yes, scrying mirrors. There's a long history of not just mirrors, but black mirrors. Because a regular mirror is not black. A regular mirror just gives you a reflection. But, a black mirror, it seems to be more magic-based. Some would say instant communication across the world, getting a live video feed to see anything things going on anywhere in the world live. I mean, is that not magic? I mean, that's amazing. So, yeah, the tech. So to answer the question, let me get rid of the Mr. Smith effect, because we're done talking about that for now. So, yeah, TV screens as well. But I think Fatima's prophecy, again, unless I'm mistaken, I have to go through it again. I believe she emphasized that everyone would have it. Now, if that was an accurate translation, that would point to smartphone. Because everyone has their own. Now, everyone has their own TV, sure, and I guess the devil could enter the TV again through all the programming. But from the phrasing, because Fatima's prophecy was known a while ago, and I believe I had read about it before smartphones. I believe I read about it in the 90s. And it didn't ring haunting. And then when I went back and looked at it again a number of years ago, it was absolutely haunting, because it seems like the translation adds up more with everybody having their own private smartphone. With all of this access, and it's almost like a two-way access where, all these, not just predators, but obviously, Illuminati, predictive programming, and subliminal messaging. And then, of course, we have the Apple computer, literally the bite of the apple of Satan's deception of Eve and the eviction from the Garden of Eden. Obviously, we don't need to necessarily take that literally. That could be metaphorical. And it being sold for $666. Are people aware of that? How much the first Apple computer was sold for? So it's actually even crazier, because the development price the development price was not. I'll put it up on the screen in 1 second here. The development was, I believe the predicted price was around $2,000. I mean, how many products are sold for $666? I mean, think about it. Like, seriously. How many products, is this innocent? Because if there were tons of products that were always sold for $666, whatever. Whatever. But if this is one of the only products ever sold for $606.66, that's kind of weird. They had to add the 66 cents as well, because 6, the number of the beast, the number of Satan, Saturn, however you want to look at it, into the occult. So it's not just the bite of the apple, it's the bite of the apple plus the price. And that was not the price predicted. So if it was always predicted to be that price, I mean, that would be weird also. But it's doubly weird that that's not what it was supposed to be. That was changed last second for the release. Exactly. At what point it is no longer a coincidence. I think I missed some questions, but just to answer the question about the internet. there's when you couple all of this with Apple and then Bill Gates and Microsoft again. If you haven't checked out the Bill Gates podcast on the Rumble, on the Mindshock Rumble, check that out because I talk about the formation of Microsoft, and there's a lot of occult Illuminati stuff there as well, including built into the system as well. And it's called Windows, as if it's a window to spy on you or a window into your soul to corrupt it through the internet and all of this programming and influence. So to answer your question from the beginning, I think there was always an intention. It's almost like anything. It's it's a double-edged sword. Literally, a sword can be used for anything. It can be used to defend, or it can be used as to attack. So I don't want to say because, for example, like I don't know if Linux is satanic or occult Illuminati controlled, or some of these other OSs that nobody uses. I do not remember the first computer. It was an old one. It was a really old one. I honestly don't remember. I don't remember the make and model. I had gateways and Dells throughout the 90s, but the very first one, I don't even remember it having a label on it. It was this hideous thing. It was this old it was I think it was like between white and yellow, one of those weird colors if you remember those old boxy monitors. It was before the gateways and the Dells became like it wasn't a compact either. I honestly don't remember the make and model of it. It was really old, and it was not a Mac. No, honestly, I guess it was a PC. Yeah, it was a PC. I'm trying to remember what it ran. It ran some weird OS. It was the pre-DOS OS. I don't remember it. It was the one that came out before MS-DOS. But um, so does that answer the question? I forgot who even asked the question about the internet. But so they clearly knew what they were doing. Now, it's kind of like anything. Anything can be turned against the slave masters and controllers and the string pullers, right? Did they anticipate that it could have some use against them in spreading positive information? It did. Now, obviously, they would have known that. So, if the goal was to control and program, obviously, they didn't care that it could also be used to spread truth. Now, if we go by the theory that the rules of the universe are like a chessboard, and they have to disclose what they're doing to at least your subconscious. In which case, it wouldn't matter to them because they can't violate your free will. So it wouldn't necessarily matter if it could be used for good as well because they could use it for their purposes. So does that answer the question? That's kind of my thoughts on the internet, where it kind of accomplished their goal, and it's always going to be a yin and yang duality where there's always going to be good going on as well. And obviously, they knew about that. But, and with resets, regardless of whether computers existed or not, some people believe that the resets are done whenever the balance is tipped and the slave masters and controllers are exposed. They have to do a reset for the masses. So if they already know they have to do gradual, resets every so often, then again, they'd roll out the internet. It doesn't matter because there's going to be a reset at one point anyway. So, okay, let me scroll back. If you guys can just pause your comments for a second, I want to catch up here. I really want to be able to answer all these questions. And just because we got started late, I am going to have to go kind of soon. So, but I do want to answer all the questions. What is your opinion of leadership in North Korea? Denver Harbor, Texas asked that question. I did not answer that one. Oh, and we have to address Mandela being a psyop as well. Okay, so yeah, the thing like there's so little that can be definitively verified about North Korea, but I do find North Korea interesting, and some people don't know, but Russia actually had a war with Korea, and it's actually kind of hard to get legit details on it, which I find curious. So there might be something covered up in Korea, and that might have actually been the real reason for the split between North and South. Korea and Japan also have a very interesting history, also involving martial arts. Because I've studied some arts back in the day, and I was also very interested in their history because there's so many different stories on the original formation of kung fu, karate, taekwondo, and it was always curious to me as the links between Korea and Japan. They were, just it was weird. It was weird. I'm trying to find the original Korean-Russia war. And it was in the 1800s too, like supposedly during the last reset. So what was going on there? Was it Tartaria related? But yeah, no, Korea is very, very interesting, and there are so many mysteries surrounding it. I mean, I have nothing definitive to offer. I can just point to this war with Russia, the whole Tartaria mud flood issue throughout the 1800s, possible reset, and then what is the true reason between North and South Korea? Are those things all connected? I'm not saying they are or they aren't. Again, this is Mindshock. I do not claim anything is true or untrue, but just keeping that in mind, like that's kind of my thoughts. So I think we can't trust anything coming out of North Korea. It seems like they have a show for the rest of the world, and then they also have a show for its own citizens. What is truly going on behind the scenes, obviously, is anybody's guess. Is it connected to the history of the past 200 years? Maybe. So Les Xylophone thinks Mandela's a psyop. I addressed that slightly. It could be, but that doesn't mean it's not a legit effect either. Sun UV Liberty mentioned the eclipse and possible prophecies. Yeah, that definitely needs to be its own podcast. Groupthink Skeptic says, is linguistic wizardry a real magic power? So depending on how you define magic power, but there is there's definitely effect on the subconscious, I think, phonetically, because everything is sound and everything's frequency, and sound has different frequencies. I do not think it's accidental that the words, the way they're pronounced, phonetics, I don't think anything's accidental. If you guys, I will do a podcast on, I've been meaning to do this for a long time, on the origin of language itself. So actually, this ties into the eclipse on UV Liberty. This actually ties in with what you just said. The movement of astronomical or celestial bodies, that's how all the letters were formed. The Greek, Hebrew, and Egyptian letters or hieroglyphs are actually the path of celestial bodies in the sky. I'll be doing a video on that. I'm not going to bring it up right now, but I'll put, when I do that podcast, I'll put up the time lapses and everything. This blew my mind. I mean, this was probably this was the biggest recent mind shock I've had. Like, it was probably a more powerful mind shock than all the other ones. Because when I looked at the time lapses of these certain celestial bodies, they are literally the letters of Greek, Hebrew, like the different celestial bodies moving. And these supposed frequencies of these bodies or attributes to these celestial bodies, call them planets, what you will, what they stand for, and the link to astrology, to real astrology, not the fake mainstream crap, but the real occult ancient knowledge astrology, the links to that, and even how the basic letters were derived and written down are all from the movements of celestial bodies. How's that for a mind shock? Was that a good mind shock for you guys? Oh, I mean, that's the biggest recent mind shock for me, because when I saw all of them, the letters of the Greek, Hebrew, and Egyptian alphabets are the path of celestial bodies over the earth. And I don't think it's accidental. The sound the letter makes, the frequency of that sound connected to the celestial body movement it represents in the sky. So is that a good answer for the question regarding, let's see the exact question here, linguistic wizardry? So, does Groupthink Skeptic, does that answer your question? Okay, Devin Stanford asked, where did you learn about all the different types of fallacies? You and Witsit are unmatched in calling out people's BS. Your vocabulary is honestly astounding, brother. Thank you, sir. I actually hold back a lot because I want this to be very accessible. Sometimes I don't. When I get rolling, I might, I try to hold back, because if I call out, let's say, what's that goof, Craig from Fight the Flat Earth, like, he was beseeching me to get on his, to debate him or whatever. Like, he was a beseeching goof, and I was besmirching the beseeching goof. Like, sometimes, like, I want to say something like that, and, like, It was kind of, it's like sometimes I'm like, well, I want to make this as accessible as possible, so I can't really use the vocabulary I really want to use. But I don't know. Maybe sometimes I'll ramp it up for you guys. So I learned about. So I told this story before too. When I was a kid, I'm not going to give the year. We actually did learn logic and reason in school, not in the form of fallaciousness and fallacies, but just sound reasoning, critical thinking, deductive reasoning. And we actually had exercises on them. That was elementary school. That all disappeared. So by the time, I don't know, 13, it was all gone from the curriculum. Now, I think obviously this would depend exactly where you went to school. So that was my first introduction. And then it all disappeared. And then, like I said, when the teachers couldn't really answer the questions, I just started. I was always fascinated by psychology and I was always curious. So I just always kept learning. And then I started reading a lot about philosophy as well. Honestly, philosophy led me to fallacies way more than anything relating to the scientific method. So you really have to combine psychology, philosophy, and science to understand fallacies comprehensively. And then I just never stopped learning. I'm still learning now. I mean, the motto of the podcast is what it is for a reason. Because if you can get your hubris in check, like if you honestly approach everything believing you're not necessarily wrong, but you could be wrong, that's where all the learning happens. So anybody who can get their ego in check, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, that's why all those Greek myths were always warning about the hubris. And look at Western society. They've embraced the narcissism. They've learned nothing from Greek myths. They've learned nothing about hubris. They've learned nothing from Narcissus and his narcissism. Like, they've learned nothing. Western society is literally designed for you to not learn by exploiting the ego. That's why I mean, I'm not just calling out people's fallacies, I'm calling out their psychology. Why do you think they get so triggered? When I call out their Dunning-Kruger and their ego having them on too short strings to even consider the possibility that they're mentally deficient. And all they can do to cope is pretend it's an insult and not actually consider the possibility that it's true. Obviously, they shouldn't believe me, but they're too mentally weak to even consider the possibility. And of course, I call that out because I'm all about accuracy. Lord Zed said, yeah, when I first learned Santa was a phony, it spiraled from there, I guess. Do you guys all remember when you... Wow, Sphinx Bear says, wait, Santa is a phony. How old are you, Sphinx Bear? Okay, does everybody remember when they found out Santa wasn't real? Because I actually don't even remember. I guess I didn't care. Like, it had no impact on me. Like, obviously, when I was extremely little, obviously I thought Santa was real. What, 4 years old, 5 years old? I do not remember when I found out Santa was... I really don't. I have no idea. I don't know if it was 8 years old, 9 years old. I really don't remember. Lucky says, I got shingles, man, trying to cope with the pain, hanging with the homies. Oh, wow, sorry to hear that. I mean, obviously this isn't a medical channel, but I'm sure, I'm sure you're well aware of potential alternative treatments that could help you out. Do you guys know about fasting? I'm actually going to do a podcast on fasting pretty soon. We talked about it before, but I'm going to do a follow-up one. Fasting is the fastest way to resolve mental or physical issues, allegedly. I don't claim anything is true or untrue. Might say that on the internet somewhere. I wonder where it's called fasting. Okay, anyway, Pinto Sack, how would you best structure a society in terms of governance? I get libertarian vibes from you. Pinto Sack, my friend, who said that humans were ever meant to be governed? I go into this in a lot of podcasts, but by what authority? See, government means mind control. Govern is control. So in terms of controlling, how would you structure a society in terms of controlling? Does that presuppose that humans were meant to be controlled? I need to do another anarchy podcast. I did a podcast with Maxwell, the greatest threat to humanity, which is, of course, government. Government's also the number one killer of humans in history. 260 million dead in the past 150 years alone. People think religion kills. The religion of statism has killed more than any other. I guess, yeah, I mean, I don't like labels in general. I mean, voluntarist, you can call me, I don't believe anybody should be, gun to the head, threat of violence, forced to be extorted to support others. I mean, if everybody agrees, if there's no compulsion of force, then there's no problem. Kill the Bank asked a very interesting question. Is Michelle Obama a man? I think we should avoid that on YouTube. Run Boston Bear says, Bruce, I enjoy the way you think and share ideas and content. The world needs more mind shocks to hopefully wake them up. Yeah, we need a lot of shocks. That's the other thing, too. Like, some people really need to be shocked to kind of, break the spell of the Matrix. Some people, you can talk to them softly. Other people need a smack in the face or an electric shock. It's kind of, think about it this way. Like, when somebody's, when the heart stops, like, the parallel could be when the brain is basically brain dead. Like someone like Craig from Fight the Flat Earth. Like, if the brain is dead, like, you can't talk it awake. Like, if somebody's heart stopped, you're not gonna talk to the heart and convince it to start beating. You need to get the paddles and shock it to get it working again, to get it functional. Oh, Lord Zed, you're starting with the Santa Satan already. Yeah, check out the Christmas conspiracy. I go over all of that on that one with Maxwell. That one's a riot if you haven't checked that out on Mindshock. Mr. One said, religious education was funny for me. I got kicked out of every class for questioning why I should trust the book or believe any of it. You know what's crazy? Call me a blasphemer, but I always thought the Bible was, I don't want to say nonsense. I just didn't think it was legitimate until, I would say, post 9/11. Reading Revelation post 9/11, I mean, that's quite the experience. I would say post 2010, or, screw it, post 2012. 2012 or after. Read Revelation from the Bible and take a look at what's going on in the world, and then say it didn't accurately predict everything. Okay, let's, Les Xylophone, what is your opinion on chaos magic and the possibility that the elites use traumatic events as rituals to further their agenda? I talk about that on the Predictive Programming podcast. That's also a deep rabbit hole. Yes, I believe they have to disclose, revelation of the method is part of it as well. That kind of makes everything make sense. Unless all of that is all a distraction for something else, I mean, man, I literally have over 200 podcasts planned and outlined. And one of them actually goes pretty deep into that all of the Freemasonry, revelation of the method, that's all low level. And the real stuff is stuff nobody even knows about. And that's how everything really works. And I have a lot of info on that. Again, not claiming anything is true or untrue. Oh wow, it looks like I'm really behind on all these chats. Can you guys pause your comments for a sec? I need to catch up here. Come on, give me a break, guys. Like, we gotta wrap this up soon, too. Look, he asked about the 9/11 story. I'll finish this up with the 9/11 story. Kill the Bank says, the internet opened up a lot of quick access information. Do you think these so-called elite... Okay, yeah, I answered that. Okay, yeah. I'll say my friend's 9/11 story at the end, which will be in like 5 minutes. I gotta wrap this up. Sun UV Liberty said they went from analog to digital because analog is sent, digital is sent and received. It could also be for other reasons. If you haven't checked out my analog versus digital paranormal podcast, check that out. I talk about that as well. Lord Zed said witches and wizards were alchemists. Alchemists means the chemistry in Arabic. Moses probably did turn a staff into snake with science. Kill the Bank says Tesla had a quote to say that in the future would be able to communicate across the earth with a device that you could fit in your front pocket. Okay, then we were talking about, yeah, all the computer stuff. Oh, wow, Mr. One-to-One with a mind shock. A lot of things are 99 cents, not just in the UK, but in the US. 99 is inverted 66. That's interesting, yeah. Sun UV Liberty, look at the meaning of MAGA in Latin, the implications, which sorcerer, and has its implications associated with pharmakia. Barcodes and all products are coded with 666 as well. And yeah, there's some interesting patents. If you want to go through patents and look how many of the patents have 666 in it that are, of certain technologies that we probably can't talk about on YouTube. Wow, look at you guys are making comments quick. Do I have a backup channel? I have the Bruce McGuire channel. Make sure you subscribe to that one. If you go to youtube.com/mindshock and just scroll down a little bit, the Bruce McGuire channel is there. I actually have stuff on there that I don't have on here. Run Boston Bear super chat, thank you. I tried to super chat my Witsit comment, but for some reason I want to go through. Skim to it before you go. I think I addressed that one, right? Regarding the fallacies. Can you guys just pause your comments for just like 30 I need to catch up here. I don't want to skip any. I've been doing pretty good on these Q&As. I really want to hit most of them. YouTube's putting Biden ads in this stream. Wow, that's messed up. Sphinx Spirit, you mentioned the coincidence. I think that you were talking. I think that's back when I was talking about the letters being the astronomical bodies in the sky movements. Cammy says, "Do you believe that Kyle Rittenhouse was a student at Sandy Hook prior to the shooting?" Wow, I actually don't believe I saw that one. Wow, that's a crazy one. I haven't heard that. Sounds like there's some investigation needed into that. Again, I do not claim anything is true or untrue. Boggin says cymatics and Hebrew letters are the same as they sound when spoken. I mean, the Greek and the Egyptian also. I mean, it's curious. How many other languages? Like, I don't know about the Mayan or some of the Native American. There's thousands of Native American languages. How crazy would it be if all of them had their original letters based on not based on the actual movement of celestial bodies? Like, did they really, if they didn't have any technology, they just stood there and stared at the sky for months at a time, like to trace the path? I mean, think about that. How crazy, how did they know to even copy it? And then, of course, the corresponding frequencies. Rodney Thomas says, have you heard the theory that the book of Revelations is Gnostic astrological text? Not specifically, but that's intertwined into a lot of theories. Heatherwood, do you know John Rappaport? What do you mean? Like personally? Which one? The law guy? I don't know I don't know him personally now. I mean there's a couple different ones. Alan Mr. One to One bringing up Alan Watts. That's another huge rabbit hole. I need to do a podcast on that as well. Pinto Sack says, my mom was hardcore, never let me believe in Santa. Boggin says, fasting 100% works. Sphinx Bear, yeah, fasting's the real deal. You just gotta be careful when you refeed, depending on how long your fast is. Lord Zed says, I had a dream I need to fast more. Almost everybody does. Cammy says, I think I was always meh as to whether or not Santa was real. No, I thought it was cool that he brought presents when I was like 4. But like moving on from that, I probably transitioned it to meh, within a year or two. And then I didn't even. Oh, wow. Heather Wood did 23 days water only. I'm going to get in the fasting podcast. I'm going to go over dry fasting, no water. That accelerates the healing in autophagy, I believe, at least thrice. It also makes it a lot easier to do more days. You just got to be real careful with hydration before it and coming out of it. The risk of dehydration coming out of it is actually higher. Yeah, kill the bank. That's a good point. Fasting's a good way to strengthen the mind. Having the willpower to achieve just a 2-day fast is pretty difficult. Well, you know what's crazy? Once you go to the longer days, it becomes easier. Like shorter days is actually harder. It's almost like you to build up that momentum. And also, it takes about 3 days for the digestive system to shut off. Once there's that mental physical connection that the body's going to know it's not getting any more food, it's no longer going to be sending signals for you to eat. And if you're doing a dry fast, it does the same thing with drinking. Like if you can make it to a certain point, it becomes a lot easier after that point. Again, you just have to be real careful coming out of it. Like no no indulging or, going crazy. You have to slowly reintroduce liquid and then slowly reintroduce more solid foods. Tanuzo Nickel Fritz. Speaking of statism, did you see Larkin Rose have a fit over flat earthers? Many fallacies occurred. Jeranism covered it. But do you mean that video he did a couple years ago? Yeah, it was crazy because he fell for all the same traps and fallacies that he points out in statists. That's what I thought was very hypocritical and ironic. But, that's what blind spots are. Sarah says, my parents would go overboard for me on Christmas when I was little. They had me believing that Santa entire living room would be filled with toys for me. Well, hold on a second. My YouTube's glitching out again, too. I'm probably gonna have to wrap this up soon. The signal's still not good. I don't know why. There's so many issues tonight. Okay, where am I? Blood rituals. Okay, Boggin says they only use the paddles when the heart goes into arrhythmia, not when it stops. No, they use paddles for both. They use paddles when the heart stops as well. Classic. I mean, that's like defibrillation 101. I mean, most of the time people's heart doesn't stop, but when it does, they use the paddles as well. Shifty Eyes Shady says, well, the Bible warned against the synagogue of Satan or the false Jews who hide behind Judaism to commit atrocities and crimes. Sounds like modern day Israel as well. That might be a podcast for Rumble. IB McFly in the house. I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't seen you in the chat in a while. There are up in front gaudy tees, but they are merely to hide the secret tees. Cammy Tompkins, have you done a video on Timothy McVeigh? In the works. I've been working on it for about 2 years. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of mind shocks on that one, so brace yourselves, people. Sphinx Bear, so much content, so little time. Are you kidding me? There's only 4,500 videos on this channel, and not that many podcasts are longer than 20 hours. I mean, come on, man. Boggin, thank you for putting this out in advance. I seriously don't get why I don't get notified by so many channels. Yeah, it's weird. Also, just keep an eye on it, because YouTube was glitching the time as well. It wouldn't let me set the time, and then it changed the time that I set it. So just keep in mind, it might be an hour earlier or later than what I set it, and it doesn't let me change. I mean, I try to change it. Sometimes it lets me, sometimes it jumps forward or back an hour. So just, do what we can. IB McFly says MAGA is the fifth level of Satanism. The roulette wheel adds up to 666. Yeah, that's weird. A lot of a lot of casino games, like even a lot of the card games. Oh, thanks for the $10, Heather Wood. Much appreciated. Shifty eyes, shady. Cough, cough, NASA, cough, cough. All right. Do you guys know? You guys probably know this, but I'm gonna throw this graphic on the screen just for kicks because this is Mindshock. We gotta go out with a bang here. Oh yeah, I still have to share the 9/11 story. That'll be the last thing I share. But yeah, let me throw this up on the screen and see how many people are going to be shocked here. What do we think of this, people? What do we think of this? What do we think? Out of all the possible letters, out of all the possible letters, what a coinky dink. Lord Zed says the founder of chemistry said you can turn one species into another, he theorizes. Kemet, Egypt, chemistry. I'm not going to even look up all the chemistry etymology. It actually gets bonkers. You know what's weird, though, is how many different ones are there. Because it is connected to Kemet, but there's also a whole bunch of other connections. And simultaneously, they're all coincidental? Maybe. I don't know. Shifty eyes, shady body knows what to shut down. Yes. The human body is just absolutely incredible. You actually even start generating your own stem cells superior to that of stem cell treatment. I think it's around day 5 to 7 of a dry fast, which is potentially deadly. On a water fast, it might be day 7 to 14. So you could literally regenerate cells. Like, people that have, like even let's say you have an ACL tear, theoretically, it would completely regenerate from fasting alone. Absolutely incredible. And a lot of diseases. I mean, it's actually going mainstream. There's fasting clinics set up by actual doctors. Like Cali and Florida have a couple. One of the guys was actually on Joe Rogan. He said that they do 70-day fasts. It's IV and blood monitored as well, just to prevent it from being deadly. But to work up to that on your own, I mean, that's tough. Supposedly there was some guy in what was it? What was the country? Was it Czechoslovakia or Serbia? They threw some guy in the hole in prison and forgot about him. No food or water for 18 days, and he survived. Sphinx Bear says, I don't see the comments Bruce is reading. Make sure in the above chat you change it from top chat to live chat. It's default set to top. So YouTube uses its own metrics for whatever, not showing everybody. So just manually switch it from top to live, and you'll see all the comments. Yeah, Boggin. Yeah, they have a snake's tongue in their logo. That is correct. Oh, and for the people who think that this is Photoshop, you can actually. I'll put up the. I can give you the exact URL. I mean, I guess there's no trolls in the chat. Usually they're like, that's fake. Stop lying. It doesn't really say that. It's right on, like, the King James Bible pathway, the main site, and you can see that it is legit. There's some dictionaries translate it Nasha with an extra H, but, there's plenty that just have it NASA. Lot of Dunning-Kruger goofs pretending it's not even, that's not even the definition when it clearly is verified in many sources. Shifty Eye says, plus the crossover and then the Werner von Braun Nazi connection makes us even crazier. There are layers upon layers of this stuff. Yes. Also, all of the mission names. I'm trying to remember. I think, did I not go over this? Oh man. Do you guys want a real mind shock? Let me see if I have it handy. I have it planned for a future episode of the Apollo series. If you haven't checked out the NASA moon landing series on Mindshock, check it out. I actually go through EMF extraction, which shows that all of the footage and photographs taken on the moon are using artificial light sources, as in not taken outdoors, but in a studio with artificial studio lights. Again, I do not claim anything is true or untrue. I can try to find this regarding the moon missions. It was on an obscure blog that I don't believe exists anymore. I'm trying to find... Let's see. Uh-oh. 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 Do you guys want a sneak preview? You guys want a sneak preview of NASA patches symbologies? Is it not working? Is it not? Why is it not playing? Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get it. YouTube's really messing with the stream today. I don't know what's going on. This is a little clip I was going over. It should be playing now. Oh yeah, I was thinking about that as well. Eshtaton Don. Before NASA, it was NACA. Reminds me of Nazca lines in Peru for some reason. Yes, you are not the only one that picked up on that. I was thinking about that a while ago as well. Ethan W in the house. What's up? Here's a sneak preview of what I'm going to be going over on the Apollo series on how they chose the patches for the NASA missions. Apollyon the Destroyer, the Dragon, the Serpent, the Prince of this world, the God of this world. Satan the Adversary, the Dragon, the Old Serpent, the Prince of this world, the Prince of the power of the air, the God of this world, the Spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. I mean, it's kind of crazy that they chose that for the Apollo missions. Here we have Revelation 9:11. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. That's kind of interesting. Does anybody find this kind of weird that this is Revelation 9:11? And then, of course, the symbols of the eagle, Freemasonry symbology, also America, the eagle, the stars, the pyramid, 33. So this is the Masonic flag that supposedly went to the moon. I mean, definitely a good reason to send that to the moon. Let's send that to the moon. Notice all of the symbology here. The pyramids, the eagles, the Freemasonry, coincidentally, all of it, all the same everywhere. So the flag was carried by Brother Edwin E. Aldrich Jr., PhD, 33 degree, Colonel, United States Air Force, retired, and former NASA astronaut. During his walk on the moon, prior to joining NASA, Aldrin flew 66 combat missions in F-86s while on duty in Korea. And this flag went for a moonwalk. Very curious. Very, very curious. Quite curious indeed. They also have whatever, these commemorance coins or whatever for the moon missions. These 10th anniversary commemoratory, Freemasonry all over the place. Double-headed eagle. So why was it so necessary for the flag to have a presence during the alleged moon landing? Like, why was it necessary? It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. And Aldrin Sr. was also a Scottish Rite Mason. Now the flag is in the House of Temple, Washington, D.C. And that's Buzz Aldrin right there with Grand Commander Luther A. Smith. And of course, they have all their Freemasonry hardware. Very interesting. I mean, it's almost like they have their own fashion dedicated to Apollo. And obviously, no shortage of these guys affiliated with NASA and the Apollo missions who also happen to be 33-degree Freemasons. What a coincidence, man. And all of these symbols repeat all the time. And they're also associated with Satanism. Albert Pike is another one. I actually did a podcast on Albert Pike, but it was one of the first podcasts I ever did. One of the older ones. It's a little bit incomplete. There's actually way more flags here. Let me bring up... That was just a quick preview of what I'm going to be going over. I'm going to bring up one more thing. I wonder if I can... Yeah, if I can bring up a PDF here. I don't think I could, actually. There is a... If you guys have read the Hoagland and Barra's book, The Dark Mission, The Secret History of NASA, 2007. Yeah, it won't let me... It won't let me bring that up here. Let me see if I can... Yeah, it won't let me do it. Let me see if I can. I could screenshot. I can see if I could screenshot it real quick because I wanted to show. That wasn't even as mind shocking as what I want to really show. Because I wanted to show all of the moon mission logos on a single screen together, so you guys could see just how bonkers all of this stuff. I mean, this stuff is amazing. I mean, this is like a coincidence theorist's dream. Oh, maybe it wasn't from this book. I thought it was from this book. I'm just skipping through the PDF here. I thought all the images were in this book. Perhaps they are not. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna find this. I only have a couple thousand folders on the computer to go through, so I should be able to find it quite easily. And extremely quickly. Or maybe not that quickly. Man, this is rough. Uh-oh, maybe I found it. Maybe I found it. Oh, wow. Actually, I have another mind shock for you guys before we get to that one. Just bear with me for a second. This one's gonna really shock you. You guys came here for a mind shock. This one is so totally out there. You guys aren't ready for this. You guys better be sitting down for this. You guys better be sitting down for this. Just give me a second. I'll bring it up on the screen in a second. I don't think any of the flat earthers even went this deep, but this is Mindshock, and we're going really, really deep. You guys are totally not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. My computer's not ready for this. Wow, I don't know what's up with all these glitches. It's not letting me... Alright, hold on a second. It really does not want me to put this image on the screen. But I am determined. I am determined to get you guys the mind shocks you came here for. Check this out. The ISS just so happens... The ISS just so happens to be the Russian Orthodox Cross. Now, is that a coincidence, or is that just me? Let me ask that question again. Is that a coincidence, or is that just me? I am in the zone. I mean, this is Mindshock Central right now. This is all a preview, by the way. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into symbology and NASA and the Apollo missions. You guys getting your money's worth on Mindshock tonight? I should do more previews because, like, I know my podcasts take forever. My big deep dives and comprehensives go. You know, they take forever to put out. But maybe I'll be doing more previews like this on these live Q&As. Because I got a lot of stuff. It really didn't want to... It was so weird. I'm trying to put the image up, and it wouldn't let me put it... Like, this has never happened before. Like, it's like this podcast is flagged or something. Like I had to kind of force spam, like quadruple click just to get it to come up on the screen. But wait, there's more. So check out. Oh man, I don't think you guys are ready for this. I don't think you guys are ready at all. I mean, I'm not even ready. I mean, I had all this stuff prepped, um, and obviously I go through a lot of podcasts at the same time. But just give me a second. Like it doesn't want me for some reason when I put it up on the screen, and it doesn't like show up. I have to like quadruple click it to show up. This has never happened before. So just bear with me. I gotta like force jam click all of these just to come up on the screen. So check this one out. The shape of the space shuttle just so happens to be the triquerta. So this is an occult symbol with various origins, pagan and satanic and witchcraft. So why is that basically the shape of the space shuttle? Yeah, are the demons in the tech? I mean, it's all coincidental, obviously. Because, I mean, as many have pointed out, would this be the most aerodynamic design for a shuttle? But if they're designing these shuttles or the ISS, groupthink says your Black Mirror is acting up. So if 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 the design is based on occult symbology, then it would have nothing to do with being aerodynamic, right? So we'll go through another patch here. This patch is absolutely bonkers. I mean, look at the symbols they just throw in on these patches. Not to mention, you guys see the 7, but then you also have this occult symbol with an upside down cross here and the arrows. So this is the Chaos Star. A lot of occult here. Probably all coincidental. Most likely all coincidental, right? I mean, there's no way this can't be coincidental. I mean, there's a lot more. I don't want to go through all of them. This was just like a quick preview of what I'm going to be diving into in the in the NASA in the NASA podcast series. I might do a couple more. Let me just see what I can get on the screen. It just doesn't want to come up when I'm bringing it up. It's so weird. Yeah, I mean, I gotta finish up soon, but I mean, there's a couple of more really bonkers ones, but maybe I'll do. I was trying to find one. I had a bunch of them assembled side by side and it was just really obvious. Trying to find it. Can't find that one. Yeah. Oh man. Just give me one more minute. I'll see if I can find it. Oh wow. I just found. Okay, wow. Wow. I definitely got to show you a couple more. I just found some of these more obscure ones. You guys might have never even seen these before. Just give me a second. I'll put them all up on the screen. So these are patches from classified missions. Actually, I wonder what's going to happen when I put these all on the screen in a second. Is this entire stream going to just shut down? Oh yeah, here we go. I found them all. We're going to Mindshock Land tonight. We're going to Mindshock Land. So these are some of these are from top secret missions. I have no idea where these people got these patches. Some of them are from various decommissioned or canceled missions. And some of them, these are old photos on the internet from the 90s, and nobody even knows where they came from. So yeah, here we go. You guys wanted a mind shock. You're gonna get one. If you thought that was mind shocking, man. Now I'm thinking I shouldn't put these on the screen. This whole stream is gonna crash if I put these on the screen. What do you guys think? Do you want to do you want to risk the stream crashing? Who wants to risk this stream might actually crash and then it'll be done. So just be prepped for it. Oh, if you thought those were bad, I'm about to put up some on the screen from classified missions, decommissioned missions, and unknown sources. But these were actual photographs put on the internet in the 90s. Full send? Are we going full send? Everybody's voting yes on full send. So just prepared if the stream does crash. Just everybody knows why. Oh, Denise says no. Denise is against it. She's against risking the crash. Everybody else wants to risk it. This is Mindshock. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Full send. Everybody's voting for full send, so let's go full send. I mean, it's been glitching all night before I even started, so yeah, I mean. Alright, here we go. Here we go. I have to put them up one at a time. It won't even let me put up more than one anymore. It's not even allowing me to select more than one right now. This is so crazy. Alright. We got this one. We got this one. I believe, I don't know, I don't think we should even say what the origin of some of these are. I'm going to put it up without saying, I mean, you guys can see the lettering and you could look it up. These are supposedly from classified, these patches are from classified missions. I don't know how they got on the internet, but you guys like this one? What is this? Look at the rocket. Look at that. Look at that rocket. You got the Illuminati pyramid with the eye and the rocket right there. This one's kind of creepy. Is this one, you think this one is some kind of ode to space ships or possibly airships, Tartarian airships? Got the Morning Star. I mean, these are really bonkers. Do you guys want them all on the screen at the same time, or do you want them big and I go one at a time? We'll go big and then I can resize them to get them all on the screen at the same time. How ominous are these? Check these out. I mean, talk about ominous. I mean, are these not the most bonkers patches ever? I mean, these are just downright creepy now. I mean, these are creepy. I mean, look at this. Look at this. I mean, how creepy is this? I mean, you got the black and the red. Man, you guys were really in for a mind-shocking treat. Again, this is all a preview of my a comprehensive Apollo podcast. I'm going to be going through all of the imagery and explaining all of this. Well, some of these patches were top secret and not even ever released, so they weren't even meant for public consumption. Check this out. Remember when we were talking about the dragon? I mean, look at these. You got the dragon clawing the earth, you know, and look at the tail around. I'm guessing that's a diamond, or is that like a Star Wars type spaceship? But look how it's clawing the earth, and then it's got the American flag in its wings. That's kind of creepy as well. And then look at this one here on the left, Titan 4 B-36 Peacemaker. Is that a 747 flying? And then it's flying, and then there's the two jet thrusters to the side of what appears to be the 737. Or what is that? The B-36 Peacemaker, which just so happens to have the same outline. Now, the Peacemaker is supposedly the first bomber that was capable of delivering nukes. So, the symbology there, it happens to look like a 747, and you have it going between the jet thrusters of the spaceship, and it's also the first one capable of developing nukes. And then you have the two eyes there. I can't tell what's in the eyes. I can't tell if that's like, what is that? I can't tell what those eyes are made up of. Because you got the black and the gray. It almost looks like it's the earth with something over the earth. Yeah, the cat eyes, but what are or whatever animal, what are they made up of? Because you could see there's so many different colors. You got the brown, the gray, the black, the white, and the blue there. It almost looks like it's an outline of something. Yeah, like a landmass or something. And then I can't tell what animal. Is that an animal? Is that like a goat? Does that look like a goat with the number 20 on it? I don't know. I can't tell what that is. Or is that a unicorn? A donkey? I can't tell what that is. Is that a unicorn? Is that a unicorn with a mohawk? Yeah, what an ironic name. The Peacemaker, the first aircraft capable of delivering nukes without modification. Again, I'm not claiming nukes are real or not real. I mean, aren't these some bonkers patches? So these are supposedly the patches. I don't know if these were ever public. I don't know. This is an interesting one, isn't it? It's kind of, I mean, it's blurry. It's like a poor quality photo. But it's pretty weird. You don't know Jack. The Jack B-25. And of course, NASA is heavily connected with the Air Force. A lot of people forget that. I mean, I know Mark Sargent talks about how these astronauts are U.S. Air Force. And then we have these patches that are Air Force. Some of them are Air Force patches, but they have NASA space rocketry on it. I mean, isn't that kind of weird? Like, why do these patches even exist? Especially the ones that aren't even meant for public consumption. I mean, the B-25 is an older American bomber. Why is there an Air Force patch connected to spaceships and NASA from an old Air Force bomber? I mean, the B-25 Mitchell first flight was 1940, retired in 1979. Like, why would there even need to be an Air Force patch connected to NASA? It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. Alright, you ready for a really bonkers one? I'm not sure this even has an origin here, but check this one out. I mean, are they even trying to hide the dragons now? I mean, some of these, it's really weird. Why would there be space or Air Force patches with dragons around the Earth? Yeah, we might get shut down. Altitudo cum habitus means to consider with height or to consider from on high. Very interesting choice there, especially with the dual dragons. I mean, yeah. This is all very bonkers. I told you this would be mind shocking. Did you guys not believe me the extent of the mind shock we were embarking on? Did you guys not believe? I mean, this mind shocked me. That should tell you something. But wait, there's more. Like, why do these patches even exist? Like, these are so weird. I think some of these are unknown origin, but I think they were photographed in the 90s next to all these other ones. So someone found, like, this collection of patches and photographed them all and uploaded them on the internet in the 90s. Like, you can see how bad the quality is here. Like, why would there be a patch like this, and you have a red path around... You have a red path from the Earth to, I don't know, is it some kind of star, possibly the morning star, Lucifer, who knows? And then you have a yellow path going beyond. Ashton Don said, maybe someone had a dragon fetish and a patch making machine. No, but why would this patch even exist? It's just kind of weird. It's very, very weird. But wait, there's more. So now it's this I mean, this one is just weird. It's so basic too. Like, this is like a basic one. Not a lot of space imagery. There's 3 stars there, but yeah, I don't know. Kind of weird. Kind of, yeah, it all connects to the USA or USA colors. All right, who's ready for the last one? Possibly the most mind shocking one. I mean, I don't even know if I should put this next one up. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Oh man, this one's gonna. I'm hesitant to put this one up. I think we're I don't know. I'm really hesitant to put the next one up. You guys are not prepared for the next one. Oh man, it is so rough here. Do we have an Epstein connection here? So, Sweet 16, worth the wait. We're gonna crash. What is this? Why do these patches exist? Is my question. Like, why is this a Space Air Force patch? Can anybody explain to me? Can anybody explain to me why this exists as an Air Force space patch? I believe these are two sides of the same patch or something like that. They were together. So I believe these were together as one somehow. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Beatles lyrics. Picture yourself on a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. Somebody calls you, you answer quite slowly, a girl with kaleidoscope eyes. Cellophane flowers of yellow and green towering over your head, looking for the girl with the sun in her eyes, and she's gone. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Follow her down to a bridge by a fountain where rocking horse people eat marshmallow pies. Everyone smiles as you drift past the flowers that grow so incredibly high. Newspaper taxis appear on the shore, willing to take you away. Climb in the back with your head in the clouds, and you're gone. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Picture yourself in a train station with plasticine porters with looking glass ties. Suddenly, someone was there at the turnstile, the girl with kaleidoscope eyes, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Yeah, this is just really weird. I mean, why does this exist? So, I don't want to even, man, it's just so weird. It's really weird. And what is it? So, the girl is at the top of the world, worth the wait. What's that supposed to mean? What is going on with all of these? Rig 5 says, but the fool on the hill sees the sun going down and the skies in his head, the world spinning round.